While substantial progress has been made in increasing access to clean drinking water and sanitation, billions of people still lack these basic services. 1 in 3 people do not have access to safe drinking water. 2 out of 5 people do not have a basic hand washing facility with soap and water. And more than 673 million people still practice open defecation. In 2015, the United Nations approved the Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs. It was approved by all UN members and is a new roadmap, replacing the previous Millennium Development Goals. These 17 updated goals aim for peace and prosperity for people on the planet by 2030. The SDGs recognize the need for matters such as health and education to go hand in hand with the search for equality, not forgetting to tackle poverty, protecting our land and oceans, and fighting for climate justice. The main purpose of Goal 6 is to ensure availability and sustainable management of water and sanitation for all. This means an investment in the necessary infrastructure and sanitation facilities to provide basic hygiene and clean drinking water to communities around the world.
Traditionally, cities facing increased demand for water along with variable supply have relied on large-scale supply-side infrastructural projects such as dams and reservoirs. This is termed supply-side management. However, supply-side management is costly in economic, environmental, and political terms. With cities around the world at risk of water insecurity, water utilities can implement a variety of demand management strategies to achieve urban water security. For instance, water utilities can develop pricing systems that encourage the wise use of water, or encourage young people to save water as a way of life. The competition for existing freshwater supplies will require a paradigmatic shift from maximizing productivity per unit of land area to maximizing productivity per unit of water consumed. Water is used in just about every industry. Industrial water withdrawal represents 22% of total global water use. The food, paper, chemicals, refined petroleum, and primary metal industries use large amounts of water. A sustainable water supply in the industry involves limiting water use through efficient appliances and methods adapted to the particular industry.
Regardless of the type of tariff you're on, the less water you use, the less you'll pay in your bills. You can save some water by implementing some of the behavioral changes we'll mention. So even if you're unmetered, you still have to pay to heat water, which accounts for about 30% of your gas bill. So by implementing these changes, you'll be using less hot water, therefore saving on your gas bill. First, a running tap wastes over 6 liters of water per minute. So if you turn it off while you're doing your teeth, you could potentially save around 18 liters per day in that 1.5 minutes. And a family would save even more at around 6,500 liters per year. Then there's leaking taps. And you should regularly check for a leaky cistern, as this can represent a huge waste of water and is not always so evident. Thirdly, deep baths should be replaced by showers, and showers should be as short as possible. Additionally, each time you flush the toilet, it uses about 9 liters of water, so it shouldn't be used as a bin. Not using washing machines as dishwashers is another important measure.
So in Uganda, in their rural community, a woman had to walk around 6 miles to get to a purified water lake, where of course it's like a place where crocodiles and snakes and other kind of wild animals live, and so it's kind of dangerous for the people who have to go there. And there's like a history of a family who had 2 daughters who both got sexually assaulted by men, and at the age of 14 and 17, and they both got pregnant, and they were forced to drop school That's it. There's a story from a teacher that started teaching in a rural school, and she found out weird that the students from there usually ask her to go drink water from an early spring. Um, so one day she followed them, and found out that they were not drinking drinkable water, so they were getting ill because of the water that they were drinking, and that kept them away from school. So what she did, she made turns to the students to bring a plastic jar, and in turns they went to the spring and to their homes to boil the water so they could drink the water. Um, but that was not all, so the school made strikes so they could boil the water in the school and not in their homes, so they don't have to walk to their homes and bring the water back. They could do that in the school and drink drinkable water.
To improve human access to safe water and save lives in conflicts and crises, there is a need to focus on stop attacks on water and sanitation infrastructure and personnel, build the water sanitation and hygiene sector capable of consistently providing high-quality water and sanitation services in emergencies, link life-saving humanitarian responses to the development of sustainable water and sanitation systems for all.
There are many problems related to water these days in the world. In Bahía Blanca, we have a drinking water supply system that reaches a large part of the city, but the age, lack of maintenance, and legislation have led to a lack of water supply in the city. In April 2000, alterations in drinking water quality were detected at Bahía Blanca. Those samples were analyzed, and qualitative and quantitative studies of phytoplankton and other substances were carried out in samples of domestic supply, and in the treatment plants, even though samples were bacteriological potable with no pesticide detected. The majority of all biologically caused taste and odor outbreaks in drinking water characterized worldwide are caused by microbial production of geosmin, yet it remains poorly understood throughout much of the water industry, and misconceptions which impede the prediction, treatment, and control of these volatile organic compounds. Bahía Blanca has a system of water sanitation that consists of two modules. In the first one, water is filtrated, while in the second part, it suffers a process that makes it able to be drinkable and separates the non-drinkable part. The only way this issue can be solved is by investing in the improvement of the processes that occur in the treatment plants. The capacity of the plants needs to be increased so that more people can have access to safe drinking water, which requires large investments. This is very complicated because it requires predisposition at the governmental level, which is why it is important to establish legislation that promotes improvement projects and prohibits excessive water use, for example, by companies, including those in the petrochemical cluster.
Water is an essential resource for the life of all species, but humans have the capacity to live in multiple territories, yet we need creative and intelligent ideas that allow us to develop without suffering from a lack of water. In cases that are not as extreme as at the local level, We need to achieve the commitment of society so that present and future generations can have access to quality drinking water with the necessary nutrients without contamination, bacteria, or unwanted substances.